Welcome to the Imaginarium, the show where art, technology, and creativity intersect and combine to forge a conversation that can only be found in the Imaginarium. I'm your host, Scott Colbert, and with me, as always, is the horror nerd himself, Todd Staruch. Hello, Todd.
Hey, Scott. How's it going?
Pretty good. We had a day off last week, and so it's good to pick up and get going again.
Yes, it is. I had to drink whiskey, by myself last Wednesday, as opposed to online.
Oh.
But that was okay.
The hardships we have in life.
I know.
Yeah. There's a wine for cats now. I just saw this on Facebook that they made a wine for cats. So maybe they'll have a wine for dogs, and you can get your dogs to drink with you.
My dog likes whiskey, so.
Smart dog. Anyway, Who do we have on the show today, Todd?
Well, I am very happy about the guest we have today. I'm happy to call this gentleman a friend. We met earlier this year at a film festival. The horror fans out there will know him as Ruthless Firefly from House of a Thousand Corpses. Everybody, welcome to the show, Mr. Robert Mukes. Robert, welcome aboard.
Welcome, Todd and Scott. Pleasure to be on your show, and thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. No, but I appreciate it.
That was an awesome film fest, Todd. That was one of the first ones I've been to. And LC put on a really good show. I had a fantastic time there meeting you, and thanks for helping me with the ride and everything. And I took a couple of trips outside in the middle of the night to get some air, and it was a lot colder there than it is here in California, I'll tell you that.
Didn't help that the festival was in the middle of January.
That's correct. But I had a great time, fantastic time. LC is wonderful. Shay, her friend, her assistant, and just a fantastic time. Looking forward to seeing you guys in person again.
I'm sorry, Scott, just real quick. The festival Robert's referring to is the Macabre Fair Film Festival.
Oh, right.
Run by LC and Adam Ginsberg, and it's a festival I've been involved with for several years now.
That's the one out in Hauppauge.
Yes.
Yeah, cause my mother drove a bus in Hauppauge back when I was a kid.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
How coincidental is that?
Yeah. Well, exactly. So, are you fairly new to doing the conventions and stuff, Robert?
Yes, that's correct. I just started that. I was invited to a 10-year anniversary 3 years ago, 10-year anniversary of House of a Thousand Corpses being released. And so I did 2 shows, Horror Hound and Days of the Dead, Atlanta, I believe. And I had a fantastic time, and I became hooked. They were just great. I had a really good time, and it's been inspirational, having fan support, etc. So I really enjoy doing the convention.
You didn't start off acting. You started off with sports. If I read my notes correctly, you played basketball for 5 years in Europe?
That is correct. And high school, Indiana high school basketball, which is very competitive, as most sports are. But being raised in Indiana and a tall kid, I was almost kind of forced into playing basketball, because what else do you do in the wintertime with when you have harsh winters, all the snow and the cold temperatures, but do something in the gymnasium. And I just kind of got led into basketball, and it worked out really well for me. I really enjoyed playing the game, the sport, and the competition, and it was fantastic. I played until I was 30.
Did you go into wrestling or start to go into wrestling after that?
Yeah, the wrestling story, it was kind of like just my angle in entertainment. Living in my father lives here in Los Angeles, and so I played in the summer leagues out here to get my European contracts. And being in Los Angeles, you have colleagues that are from here, and a lot of people are connected in the industry of television and film, etc. And I was invited to try out for a basketball commercial audition, and I did well. I booked my 3rd audition and several others after that for basketball, being a basketball player. And so I was gaining weight, not really playing daily, and I started getting heavier and thicker, and I thought maybe I should try my hand at wrestling. So yeah, I tried that for like 6 months, but it didn't work out. I got injured twice. And so I kind of laid back. I hurt my back a little bit. I compressed my spinal cord, but not horribly bad. I did therapy for like 6 months, 9 months, chiropractor, where they put the needles in your back. What's that? Acupuncture. And so I've recovered 100% from that. But that was my second injury after breaking my thumb, was my first injury. And then the first practice after that, I compressed my spinal cord, so I thought that I was a little bit too old for the sport of wrestling. Definitely big enough, and it's acting too. So I thought that I would try that and see if I could segue into acting.
Well, you seem to have done a pretty good job at that.
It's at segueing into acting, yeah, it's pretty good. I feel very fortunate that I've navigated my way around this town into getting a really good character. Or just a plain agent. He's a really good agent, but he specializes in unique characters. So I've got a movie audition tomorrow. And so I get a decent amount, a fair shake of auditions, and I have a pretty good percentage, you know. Seems like every year I'm on a national television show and I have a national commercial going. So I've always done well enough to support myself. But now I have 2 daughters. So the heat is on, man. I go through so many checkbooks. It's unbelievable. I think a checkbook only for like 3 months, and 10 years ago, my first checkbook would last 6 months or maybe a year, 9 months perhaps. So I'm just writing checks like a madman. Dance class, volleyball class, volleyball trainer, and et cetera. It just goes on and on.
So. Dad and his amazing wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Dads have to have an amazing wallet. So I've intensified my efforts for the acting thing, and the conventions have been. It's been a major part of the stimulation for trying hard physically and exercising and dieting correctly and et cetera to make myself more threatening.
Well, that leads me right into what my next question was going to be, Robert. When your agent is working on, auditions and potential roles for you, do you find that, production houses or studios view you mainly as, the big thug or the big, scary, intimidating guy? Do you feel that limits you in any way, or do you embrace that?
That's a good question, Todd. At 6'10", I think that's my best chance because, like, let's for an example, most doorways are 6'8" in the older homes, etc. And unless you have a big mansion or a tall office, a bigger office. But most doorways are 6'8", so I have to like duck a little bit to get in the doorway. So I'm so tall that I figured when I first started doing this business, I should go for the intimidation factor as opposed to like a lead guy or whatever. And plus, I'm not that great of an actor. I've tried my hand at leading a short or two, and it's really complex. And hats off to the guys that are leads. It's a very, very complex deal. Eventually, hopefully, I can get to that point in my acting. But I'm most suited for a character actor, and being so tall that I decided to embrace it and lift weights, grow my hair long, and make myself look as intimidating as possible, because that's probably the best opportunity I would have to work in the industry. So, yeah, I embrace it for sure.
And I think that's awesome that you embrace it as opposed to seeing it as a limitation.
No way. A couple of guys have teased me, like this one guy, and he doesn't work much at all. But he's like, Robert is only a character actor, and I thought to myself, because he was trying to be a mainstream or a lead, if I should say, and I thought even a lead is a character. Every performer on television is a character. You're just a goofball, and this guy doesn't work at all. I just let him have his fun and stuff, saying that I didn't get offended by it at all. I think character actors are some of the most popular actors. Let's look at Ron Perlman. He's basically a character actor, but he totally dominates the scene. Pun intended.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he's a character himself.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty cool guy. I've met him a few times during his slow time before Sons of Anarchy, he did a short, Two Soldiers, and it actually got nominated for an Oscar that a director, Aaron, I forgot his last name, directed, but he was a buddy of mine. I was a doorman at this club in Santa Monica, and so I went to the premiere, and Ron was there, and he was very nice and cool. So I think he's a pretty cool cat. Although I don't watch much television at all, but I don't know of any badness. So I haven't seen TMZ. I haven't seen him on TMZ or mainstream news at all.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to get himself into any trouble or shenanigans.
Well, that's awesome.
I think he has actually probably a pretty good head on his shoulders. He seems very level-headed. And he was at the Phoenix Comic-Con this year, and the people who I talked to who met him just had nothing but good things to say about him.
It's always a good thing. I saw where he was in London for Comic-Con as well. So, he's doing really good with that. I think Sons of Anarchy had like a strong cult following, and then the Hellboy, they might be doing another one. So he's had a good career.
Would you ever want to do a superhero movie like that, like Hellboy?
That would be a dream of mine, man. To be a villain in an action film like that, a comic book series, that would be just a dream come true. Although I love horror, suspense, comedy, but the action, the explosions and all that, and the computer-generated stuff, I think it's awesome. It's been a dream of mine from the very beginning.
Well, you've actually done a lot of different things. I mean, you've done a lot of genre stuff, but you've also done things like Weeds and...
you were even on the Mindy Project.
Yes.
Yeah, the Mindy Project was really cool, man. I had a little scene on that, and Weeds was... I had a little bit more exposure on that show. It was a recurring role. I did 4 episodes on Weeds. Both were fantastic. I just love working, man. I haven't shot anything in 6 months, so for the effort that I'm putting in, and I've been doing this for 21 years, and this drought of 6 months is just like unbelievable. So I've been working on my karma and like what I say to people and what I say about people and even what I think about people. Because this is incredible, this drought that I'm in. So I've got my fingers crossed for tomorrow's audition. I'm like a big thug hit guy, muscular, Irish descent, American, and that's for a pretty big film too. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, it's wonderful. I just love the acting, and it's a really, really great profession, whether it be comedy, commercials, television shows, shorts, independent stuff, doing stuff with buddies or whatever, for fundraisers that I've done. I just love acting, man. It's so cool.
I must say it, and I'm gonna stroke Robert's ego a little bit here, but I mean it very sincerely. The fact that you love it so much clearly comes through. Like watching you interact with the fans for 3 days at the Macabre Fair, you are what we fans look for when we go to a convention. Someone who genuinely wants to interact with the fans and is happy to be there. So don't ever discount how important that is. At the end of the day, I'm just a fan like any other, and so that love of what you're doing really shows through, and I think you should know that.
I'm very flattered. Listen, it's like 3 years ago when I went to the 10-year anniversary for Corpses, the 2 shows that I did, it was so inspirational. I made it to the top being a doorman in Hollywood, and there was a lot of money to be made, so I didn't sleep much for multiple reasons. And it was open like every night, and there was so much money flying around. I was there every night, and I gained like 50 pounds. I wasn't sleeping, and I wasn't booking quite as much, although I'm in a 6-month drought. But anyway, the stimulation of the horror conventions, the fan base is outstanding. It kind of takes me back to my childhood and young adult life when I played basketball. And if you do something good on the court, then you have people cheer for you. And actually, I like playing at the other gyms when I was younger and having people boo for me. But I guess that's the whole villain in me. But the villain character comes out. but I really enjoy people saying that I did something well, and I'm extremely flattered that you won my autograph, something that I was in. So, I feel very fortunate to be in that awesome cult classic that Rob Zombie directed, and that people enjoy it so much, and that I get to be a part of the whole horror circuit. It's just incredible, man. I feel so lucky. So, you being a fan yourself, as you stated, and doing a little bit more than that, assisting on the film festival and everything as you did, you were like just all over the place helping those guys. I really, really enjoy being there just as much as the fans enjoyed me, or probably more.
Well, and I think in today's day and age with social media and Facebook and Twitter, it's really important to keep that kind of attitude going at the conventions, because just even one foul mood and it's all over the internet immediately. Yeah,
I've seen that before. I think Todd was giving someone a really hard time. This girl, I guess, and I just got introduced to the show, and it's fantastic. The Walking Dead. I don't have cable, but I got introduced to it recently, and I watched all of season 4, and I'm excited to back up to season 1 and just watch how it all plays out. It's a fantastic show, but I guess a young lady on that show was charging more than perhaps she should have, and she pretty much got cremated on Facebook, man. I was like, whoa, I'm never going to be in that position.
Well, it's very interesting. Someone like myself who does go to a lot of conventions, and I still love meeting my favorite celebrities and my favorite actors. It's a big thrill for me. And I get that, like, maybe you're having a bad day, everyone's just a person. And maybe, maybe something happened or you're not feeling well. But from a fan standpoint, that might be my one and only chance to meet you.
Right.
And if it goes south, I personally, it's been very rare that I have ever gone after someone. But the person you're talking about, I'm not even going to name her by name, but I thought it was really really bad form to even to charge people just to come up and say hello to you. I just don't get that at all.
It's so sad. Listen, I don't, I said it, I had an interview last week and I kind of said it wrong. But not that I ever felt too good for it. I went to a Fangoria, it's a magazine, a horror magazine that was really popular, and I guess like paper magazines have lost a little bit of their popularity, and I'm sure they still have a really strong website and everything. But they had a convention out here in Burbank about 10 years ago, and I went to it right after Corpses came out, and Karen Black was there, and Bill Moseley and everything, and my buddy Jim Van Bever he had a film, and I think they had a film festival. In addition to that, they were giving him a 3-page spread on his film Charlie's Family. So he had a Q&A. So I basically just went there to support Jim and check out the Q&A. And then while I kick around, this was going on with Bill and Karen. And so after his Q&A, we went to the floor, and I saw those guys. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Da 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 da. And talking with Karen for like 5 minutes. We were a little bit closer than Bill and I, although Bill and I are just fine. I kind of stayed away from Bill on the set because he's so funny and he was making me laugh so much. My face was hurting. I wanted to stay serious, but Karen and I talked for like 5 minutes, and 3 people came up wanting my autograph. And afterwards, she's like, "You should get a table." And I'm like, I can't charge people for my autograph. I play basketball, and I'm super flattered that they won it. But I feel awkward, like I'm kind of begging for them to. And I didn't say that to her, but I'm like, this just isn't my style. And so time has passed, et cetera. It's kind of a long story. I'll share that with you, but and now I'm kind of doing it. So I really feel guilty and not so happy about any type of money exchange, but I was convinced and educated by Jim Van Bever. He's in the community that's what they want. They love it. You get good photos. It's just how it is, and you should do it. So, with the market drying up with the crash the housing market drying up in 2008, and the loans and everything going south, less people going out and blowing money. The doorman work became less profitable for me. So, and then as I aged, I was a little bit too old to be up at night. I mean, when the sun goes down, I'm sleepy, but I'm up super early. But so I've just kind of gravitated towards making my way into this and accepting the exchange. But, for sure, I don't know how popular I'm going to get, but I'm going to keep putting in the effort to make my body look very unique and intimidating. But I'm never going to overprice myself like that and have people not happy with me. No way.
Well, just again, real quick on that note, and then, we'll move on. And again, speaking just purely as a fan, I don't begrudge, this is America. I don't begrudge anybody the right to make a dollar, You're out there, you have expenses, travel, printing photographs, whatever. For me, it's all about the experience. So if I come up and I get a minute or two of your time and you're friendly and we have a little bit of a moment and I get to take a picture with you, I have no problem giving you a couple of bucks for that photograph and that autograph. I sincerely don't, because again, for me, it's all about the experience. If I walk away and I said, wow, that Robert was a great guy. We had a moment. I enjoyed it. I don't even think about the fact that I just gave you some money. I really don't.
Yeah, I felt like a chump about it. I mean, really, then my buddy that's in the horror community, he's like, dude, you should do it. I'm like, man, that's BS. I don't want people's money. Though, like I said, I felt like you're kind of begging. But as you explained, and you guys just really wanted, some fans just really want the photos, and they love the movie. And Jim explained that I was doing a disservice to the industry. So finally, I got to the point where I'm tired of working at night, man. Let me go. That's what happened. But I sincerely, I'm super flattered after basketball games when you're walking off the court or you come out of the locker room or you're somewhere and a fan wants an autograph, you just sign it and say thank you. And you're like flattered that somebody digs you. I never made it to the big league, but that's how it was for me always at the level that I played at. I was just super happy that somebody wanted my autograph. And, but I was convinced into, accommodating the traveling, the times, being there for the whole weekend, et cetera, that I should profit a little bit from that. So that's where it is with me right there. It is a little embarrassing, though. I hate that that's a part of the dynamics. It's always uncomfortable, almost each exchange of the conversation, et cetera, of that element.
Well, but Robert, that speaks a lot about you as a person. And I was actually going to mention this earlier. I read an interview with you. I think it was on Sinful Celluloid's website that you did. I think it was last year. And you talked about what you had said earlier about, preferring the character roles and not being, comfortable being a leading man. There's very few actors that I know who would actually have the humility and honesty to say that. And I think, that combined with how you feel about doing the autographs to the conventions, that says a lot about you as a person. And, I appreciate that humility and honesty.
It's just very complex. It's almost like everyone can't be a Kobe Bryant, the star of the team. It just doesn't happen. And playing in Europe, I was, but here with acting, I'm not the star. I'm not good at being the superstar of the team, okay. But, and I'm going to keep doing this. I hope maybe something to be just right and perfect for me. But, and I'm getting better. I've had a breakthrough in life a couple of years ago where I'm sober now, so I'm more in tune with myself and my emotions and my environment and each moment. But back then I wasn't. So, there's no telling what the future holds, but I'm very happy and excited to be on the set, period, no matter what I'm doing. It's amazing. I mean, I used to do background work. I don't any longer. We got to save my time, my energy, and my I don't want to be on the set of doing a background work when then I could have an audition to be more of a main guy. So that's the main reason why I don't do it. But I just love being in the environment, the climate of the scene, of acting, of a production. Man, it's just wonderful.
Well, let's talk about Corpses. Excuse me. How'd you get involved with Corpses originally? Did you audition? Was it a regular audition?
That is correct, man. It was just a regular audition. My current guy that I've been with for over 20 years, I say about 17 years, Sid Levine, he set me up with an audition. I went to the audition. I killed it. And no pun intended, I guess, right? But a month later, I booked the role. He called me, hey, you got this Rufus Jr. thing. It's Universal Studios. Congratulations. I'm like, whoa, awesome. I was so happy. And then I'm like, what was that? Then so I had to go back a month in my mind. Back then, I was getting a lot more auditions because I was doing more sports as well. I was younger, so I was still doing like basketball auditions, football dude auditions, and the character stuff that I do now. And I don't do the basketball and football guy stuff anymore at 50. Although my guy wanted me to do that, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to get it. There's some real professional ex-football players, and I'm just as big, if not bigger, and I look meaner, but I'm great now. So let's just let those guys have that stuff, and we'll focus on the character stuff. So I was getting a lot more auditions back then, and I had to go back in my mind. What was that? Where was that? Oh yeah, the big drunk mean dude. Because the audition, I had to like stagger around and act like I was mean in it, and then a couple of lines for that audition. But yeah, I nailed it. It was just a regular audition, like most are for me.
I have another podcast that I do with my good friend Wade Radford, and when I told him that I was going to have you on the Imaginarium, he wanted me to ask you what it was like working with Karen Black. He's a huge Karen Black fan. So, how was it with Karen?
Karen is awesome. She's beautiful. Two quick stories. When I was a kid, I saw the movie that she was in, and she did a fantastic job. The horror trilogy.
That still scares the crap out of me.
That was just badass. She did a great job in that movie. And then she was. I got Jim and I used to watch videos and watch old movies and drink together. But she did an old movie with where she got nominated for an Oscar, I believe. What was that? The American Writer or the big time budget movie she did? It's a cult class. It's not a horror movie. It's more of a hippie movie. Do you remember that? Do you remember what film?
5 Easy Pieces.
Say it again.
5 Easy Pieces.
Yeah, Easy Riders. Easy Riders, maybe?
Easy Rider. Okay, sure. Yeah.
There was a superstar cast. Anyway, on the set of Corpses, she was phenomenal. She's awesome. She's funny. She's upbeat. She was just beautiful. She's maybe 10 years. She was 10 years older than me at that point, and I had a girlfriend a little bit younger than myself. And my girlfriend actually got jealous of her because she would like joke around with me and like, it was fun and rub on my shoulders and everything. And after a couple of days of that, my girlfriend told me that you better tell that bitch to keep her hands off of you. I'm not happy with that. You might have to stay home. You don't worry about Karen. She's cool. Yeah. So she was a treat, man. She was awesome. God rest her. Rest in peace. She was such a beautiful person. I met her daughter at the rap party. Really nice young lady. And Karen is very, very talented. I saw some of her most recent work before she passed, and she was still doing a fantastic job. She's a great actress.
She was. I met her twice at different conventions, and she was also, like yourself, very fan friendly. Just a very, very sweet lady at conventions. Talked to everybody. Took great pictures. My ex-wife has really thick, long black hair, and Karen Black couldn't stop playing with my wife's hair, and finally said, "Do you live near here?" And my wife said, "Well, not far." Why? Because I'm going to come to your house in the middle of the night and I'm going to cut off your hair. That's what Karen Black said to me and my wife. I'm like, okay, well,
funny.
Thank you for that. Got to go. Bye.
Thanks for the warning.
That's my Karen Black story.
Yeah. That's great. I've sat next to Sid a few times and Kane Hodder also. Those guys tease around a little bit like that. I haven't gotten, and I'm so big and mean looking. I don't like saying this stuff to people because they're like, "Oh my God, okay, see you later." But Sid does that, and Kane Hodder as well. He teases. They tease a little bit threatening like that, and people seem to enjoy it and find it entertaining.
Kane Hodder might just be certifiable. Like when you take a picture with him, he actually closes his hand around your throat to make you turn red, so you get a better picture. I'm like, take the picture, take the picture, you know.
I think Irwin Keyes was kind of heavy-handed like that too. Yeah, those guys are a treat.
Don't get any ideas about that, Robert.
No, that's why, once again, I'm so big that I don't want to go there because I don't want to, freak people out or anything. So I just kind of play it mellow.
Yeah, I need my windpipe crushed. Thank you.
When you were filming Houses, did any of you think it was going to turn out the way it has, being the cult classic that it is?
That's a good question. Cult classics are amazing, and every time you film something, whether it be a commercial, oh my God, we're going to win a Clio Award. There's awards for commercials, or a television show, and then sometimes your buddy's a joke or whatever. If you're working on the independent thing and this is going to be like Blair Witch guys, get ready to be superstars, whatever it may be, you always have high hopes. But there were and I'm a horror fan too, but not as intense as the guys that go to the conventions. That's a different story. But there was a couple guys that seem to have a horror fan vibe about themselves, and they're like, oh my God, dude, this is going to be a cult classic, man. Get ready. You're going to be super popular. Oh my God, man, this is amazing. I'm like, yeah, it looks pretty creepy to me too. There was blood everywhere, in some of the scenes. So, you can never really predict that. You always hope for the best. And I never, in the horror convention industry has grown, the convention industry, Comic-Con, et cetera, they've just become more and more popular as time has passed. I mean, they're super, super popular now. So, I don't think anyone could have really predicted that we would be as popular as we are now.
I know plenty of people that have Captain Spaulding tattoos.
Right. They had the vision, huh?
I guess. I think it's awesome. I love the movie. And, I've met several, I've met Sid and Bill and a couple other people now, yourself from the film, and everybody's been so cool. And every single one of them said the same thing. We kind of thought we had something special, but the popularity of it, so many years later, who thunk it? And, now you're doing conventions, and people line up,
And what's amazing that Bill and Sid, and we lost some individuals from the movie, unfortunately, that were part of the circuit. Bill and Sid have been doing it the whole time, and they're still super popular. They're the leads of the movie. They're still super popular. You would think after you get one out, and I've seen multiple myself for people that I would see at another different convention. And I'm back. I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? Nice to see you again. Yeah, well, I'm back for another one. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I want pretty soon I'm going to have all your photos, but I just wanted another one now. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm really flattered, brother. Thank you. You get a discount on that. But, yeah, they're still, the guys have been doing it the whole time since the movie came out, and they still have a line. It's incredible.
What do you think the biggest misconception about Rob Zombie is as a director?
I haven't heard any negative feedback on him at all, so I can't really address that. And I'm not sure if he went to film school or not. I know it's a very complex deal, directing something, but he has an awesome team, awesome cabinet. He's got an awesome DP and the studio backing him with that. So there's a pretty good budget, and then editing at the studio and everything. So, and he had tons of time with Corpses. I think he had 3 years before it got distributed. I believe he was able to work on it the whole time. So, I haven't heard anything negative on him. I don't think there's any misconception. He's a super cool guy. I had a good time with him. Seems very intelligent on his interviews, and yeah, nothing negative from me.
Robert, I know we talked about it earlier tonight. I know you have 2 young daughters. What do they say about the fact that Dad is an actor?
They enjoy it. I had a really popular commercial that was out years ago that played 10 times a day for 4 months. DirecTV, The Man with the Neck Tattoo. I think that happened right before we met, Todd. But people would compliment me on the commercial when we're in public, and I could see their smile and pride, and I could see them, have that pride about themselves. So if I'm successful, they're going to be cool with it. But if it doesn't happen, then they're whatever. You know what I mean? They're both doing really well academically and with their extracurricular stuff. So, it's actually, I need to book this role. I'm auditioning for tomorrow so I can keep it going too. Look, girls, I was on the set. Look at this picture. Okay, cool.
That's awesome. I enjoy looking at your pictures on Facebook. You seem like a really dedicated family man and dad. And, that's something I admire. Every single day of my life, I hope that I'm doing the right thing by my daughter.
Actually, I really do appreciate you taking the time and talking to us. It's been a lot of fun, and I like A House with 1,000 Corpses a lot. And
it's a great movie. I got super lucky to be a part of it. I appreciate you interviewing me. It's really cool of you guys to do that. So thanks a lot to you too as well. To you as well.
No worries.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I just have one quick question. How come you didn't end up in Devil's Rejects?
That's a very, very good question. It used to be embarrassing to me, but and at first when I did the conventions, the 10-year anniversary, I didn't think the horror fans would like me because I didn't do the Devil's Rejects, and neither did Karen Black. And so, I guess you can't ask. I would wonder how she answered that question. But my character died right away. I was so excited about shooting that, and we all lived, and we're the bad guys, so it just has to be a sequel, guys. Get ready, it was said to us. And then when I got the script and I died the first 5 pages, I was pretty much devastated. And the way it read, how he had a shield on his face, the character Rufus Jr., I felt like that was more of a stunt. So with that said, I just let the stunt department handle that. I let the stunt guy do that, and that's it. And that was before I knew about the whole horror convention industry. So if I had known about this, not to come off egotistical, and that was before my whole to the top and getting out of shape and everything, and misbehaving and staying up all night for days, it probably wouldn't have made too much a difference in my career. But that's kind of highlighted until I get a reoccurring role on The Walking Dead or something. So that's what happened, man. I was just devastated that I died within the first 2 minutes of the film. I was heartbroken. I couldn't make it. I couldn't get out of bed.
Fair enough.
Well, so I let my stunt dummy do that. Lo and behold, he did 2 more movies around.
Don't worry, I won't tell him you said that.
Those were fading down in popularity, and course, it's ramping on. It's going a little stronger, so it's all good, man.
All right. Well, Robert, I appreciate your time with us. And
thanks. I will communicate with you later, and you guys have a wonderful evening, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks so much, Robert.
All right, cool. Take care, guys.
You can subscribe to the Imaginarium on iTunes, as well as rate and leave a review. And if you enjoy the show, check out our other podcasts at thesupernauts.com, including the Jailbait podcast with Wade Radford, and a new podcast coming up that I'm doing with Jerry Janda, Double Feature Picture Show, which will be debuting the first Monday in September. And until next time, may all your journeys be filled with pure imagination.